Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling. And man, I really appreciate you guys making some time out of your day to spend with me and check the video out. And guys, today we're going to be talking once again about the Bassmaster Classic. I just wanted to sort of do a follow-up on this since the Classic's over. And we're going to be talking about how this Classic was one of the most disappointing Classics in history, how I sort of predicted that it was coming. Going to talk about bass and what their future looks like moving forward, give them some tips and advice on what they can do to turn the ship around here. And as usual, I'll be really curious to get your guys' feedback as well. So we'll get into that in today's episode. And also, guys, real quick before you get started, you guys probably know we're coming up on April. And guys, in the month of April, my number one lure is a shaky head. Shaky head, zoom trick worm. And I want to show you the head I use real quick. Guys, this is the Gamakatsu tricky head. Out of all the shaky heads I've used, this is my favorite here. It's got a nice O'Shaughnessy bend on here, about a 2/0 hook. It's got a nice 10 keeper. The hook eye is sort of embedded a little bit in the head to make it a lot more diminutive. And guys, I just rig it just like this. And the reason I like this, most guys that fish a shaky head, they don't use the screw locks on it. Or most expert shaky head fishermen, they use the ones like this. You know, this is what my buddy Aaron Martin's always told me. He hated the screw, the screw in shaky heads. These are the best as far as hooking fish. Come through there and just come all the way through the worm with it. And I like to leave the hook point sticking out just a little bit. And that's how I fish it here. I'll link this in the description, guys, the Gamakatsu tricky head and my tackle warehouse link if you guys want to get set up for your shaky head fishing. Okay, guys, I've heard, it's unbelievable, man. You guys may have heard, some of the comments I read on the Classic from my subscribers this morning. Guys, I have gotten over 1,000 comments on this Bassmaster Classic. People just super disappointed in the Classic, calling it a debacle, calling it a disaster for bass. And I got to say, I told them, it's like I've been trying to warn them for 2 years that this was going to happen, in terms of the super low attendance at the Classic, the outrage, the absolute outrage amongst the bass fishing public about forward-facing sonar, continuing to ruin the sport, as it did with the Bassmaster Classic this year, last year, the year before that. And we've reached that precipice. We've talked about this for the last month, guys, and we are here right now. The bass fishing public hates it. They hate forward-facing sonar. And if you don't believe me, guys, go back over the last 4 or 5, just go back to my videos, the last 4 or 5 videos I did on the Classic. Go through there and read the comments that you'll see there. One thing you got to understand, there's 1,000 comments about people saying, how terrible forward-facing sonar and how Bassmaster, has ruined everything by doing this. You got to realize that if there's over 1,000 comments, negative comments on forward-facing sonar, people slamming the Classic, nobody watching the Classic, people saying, the one guy, guys, he said this one guy told me he's been to 16 Classics in a row. He said this was the lowest attended Classic and the worst Classic he'd ever been to. Bassmaster needs to listen to that. It's like, why did they ignore that? Because when you've got just a microcosm of my channel, okay, you figure that I've got just a little small slice of the bass fishing public that watches my channel, and I've got over 1,000 comments trashing forward-facing sonar. You can imagine how many guys out there that feel the same way that we don't even know about. There are tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of people out there that are disgusted by this. Now, the reason that we point out Bassmaster so much, and guys, I've tried to tell them over and over that this was going to happen, that their viewership and their attendance was going to tank, which it did. They didn't listen to me. I've tried to tell them, I've tried to warn them. But the reason why we always harp on Bassmaster is the de facto leader in the sport. It has been forever. I don't care who comes along. I don't care what tournament organization emerges. The Bassmaster Classic is where it all started. Back in 1971. When Ray Scott founded the Bass Angler Sportsman Society in 1967, Classic started in 1971. It's been the benchmark of pro fishing. So we have to hold Bassmaster to a higher standard in terms of representing the sport, and they have to take the lead. And the problem if you have, I've been super critical of the management at Bassmaster here in the last couple of years because they have undermined everything that Ray Scott worked so hard for to build this organization. everything that Ray tried to develop with Bassmaster, it's like it's all gone now. It's like it's, you know, it has been effectively transformed in something. It's not even recognizable to most of the bass fishing public out there. And here's the thing about it. I don't know how many hundreds and hundreds, thousands probably now, of people that have commented on my page that they are lifetime members of Bass, or they've been members of Bass for 30 years. They're not going to renew their subscription. They're not going to watch any more Bassmaster stuff because of forward-facing sonar. It's like, why do people? It's like you have got to cater to your base, and the base, Bassmaster's base, is these people that have been loyal to the organizations for decades. The ones that were following Bassmaster before this half of the management in Bassmaster right now were still in grade school. These guys were following Bassmaster, and they're kicking those people under the bus because they're ignoring them. They're ignoring the angler outrage from their base on forward-facing sonar, and they continue to force it down the throats of everybody. And that's why you saw the attendance at the Classic suck. That's why you saw thousands and thousands of people bashing Bassmaster for the forward-facing sonar stance. And when are they going to learn? It's like, what has to take place within the bass fishing industry before the Bassmaster management says, hey, we have got to change direction. This ship is sinking, and forward-facing sonar is sinking our ship. It's like, what does it take? How much money are they making? It's like, how much money do you have to get given to by an electronic company to a tournament organization to completely throw your base under the bus and to put up with this outrage, absolute outrage of what the Bassmaster Classic has become thanks to forward-facing sonar? So I don't get it, guys. If somebody out there has an explanation to this beyond the fact that all the subsidies they're getting from electronic companies, feel free to shoot it, because I don't understand why somebody would undermine their own success and be so hard-headed that all they have to do is change one little rule. Guys, did they realize that? All they have to do is change one rule and everything would change. The negativity would go away, the outrageous comments would go away, the attendance would return to normal, the fishing tackle sales would return to normal. The entire bass fishing world would benefit by Bassmaster coming out right now and saying, look guys, we're listening to the public. We tried this, it didn't work. We're going to ban forward-facing sonar from our tournaments from now on. Does Bassmaster, listen to me, Bassmaster management, all you dudes up there that don't fish tournaments but you're running Bassmaster, you need to take some advice here. It's like, why are you ignoring this? It's like you have got slapped in the face by this and you're refusing to acknowledge the reality of the situation. If you change that rule, if you come out next week and say we're banning forward-facing sonar from our tournament organizations, do you realize how high your stock would go up amongst the bass fishing public? All these people out there that you've alienated, you may not get a lot of them back because you really pissed them off. Some of them are going to say, well, they finally did the right thing. You know, they thought about it. Whether they got pressured into it is secondary to that, but they did the right thing and they got rid of forward-facing sonar. And here is how you deal with the electronic companies, because I know you guys they're terrified that they're going to lose that sponsorship dollars. Where are those guys going to go? When you talk about Lowrance, Garmin, and Humminbird, where are they going to go besides Bassmaster and MLF? If Bassmaster and MLF says we're going to ban forward-facing sonar from our events, Garmin, Humminbird, and Lowrance can still sell down imaging, GPS, side imaging, 2D sonar, everything out there. They can still provide anglers with those tools. They just cannot provide them with forward-facing sonar. It's not that difficult. It's like, I don't care how much money you're making from it. It's not worth sinking the organization and pissing 80% of the bass anglers in this country off to the point of where they just are disgusted by it. They're disgusted by Bassmaster because they hold them to a higher standard. So anyway, guys, I hope this is a wake-up call to them. And like I said, I fully expect them to try to spin this thing and try to put lipstick on a pig on it, but you can't. The genie is out of the bottle here. Like I said, we have reached the precipice. We're here. It's not on the way. We are here right now. The outrage has boiled over, and we've seen it at the result of the attendance being the suckiest attendance in the Bassmaster Classic ever. They're being hundreds of thousands of negative comments against Bassmaster for their stance on this. I don't know what else has to happen for them to wake up. So anyway, guys, hope you're well. Let me know what y'all think, and we'll talk later.